This is Rugby Merlin and welcome back to the channel. Well, we have the finale of the Rugby Championship 2025 and it's been an epic championship, to be honest with you. Apparently it's the closest one ever since the championship's inception, like 20 years ago. So I've really enjoyed it, and this game, the blade is low is lost, but there's still a lot to play for both teams. So the game is being played in Perth, and there's a full turnout again. I've got to say that the Australian team have been very well supported during this championship, and of course the big story was James Slipper, 151 tests, and this is his last one, I guess yesterday now. But yeah, what a great servant to Australian rugby, a very well liked player, and yeah, he deserves all the plaudits he gets, really. It's going to be a very wet match, so the conditions probably going to play a part. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. Some players to watch out for in the match. You got big Helter Skelter Skelton. Yeah, he's back in the side, and Australia going to, be relying on him for leadership and just that physical kind of next level prowess. Roigard, who had a fantastic game last outing, he's going to look to continue his great form for New Zealand. Valentini's on the bench, so actually a bit of firepower now for Australia off the bench. Tane Edmund is at 10. Don't know a lot about him actually, but he's up against Damian McKenzie, so interested to see how they both go. Lots of interesting little battles all across the pitch. New Zealand looking very smooth with ball in hand early on, and Big Willie makes a little bit of impact. He kind of gets a steal and then pushes a few players around. Unfortunately for Australia, the penalty does get reversed, but yeah, I like that fire, and that's what he brought to the Lions test series, and it really helped Australia. So for them, like, long may it continue. So let's see how it goes now. The Wallabies are really throwing the ball about despite the conditions, and also the match, they had great hands, both teams really, but Australia especially. And young Tane at 10 gets a kick over, and Australia take the lead 3-0. But a mistake from the kickoff from Frost, which is uncharacteristic really. He's a player that I do really like, but New Zealand capitalised, and I will say they did that all through the match. Whenever Australia would make a mistake, they would get something out of it, and Australia really shot themselves in the foot a number of times. But yeah, New Zealand take the lead, and it's 3-7, and then Australia get a pen back, and 6-7 now. Australia continue to throw the ball around, and they look like the Harlem Globetrotters at times out there. Just unbelievable interplay between forwards and backs, and yeah, they get over for the try. Alatoa gets over, but unfortunately for them, the referee, and I thought we got out of this era of the TMOs pulling back the play for like an innocuous decision and just ruining the kind of flow of the game, but still exists apparently. TMO pulls them back like 22 phases, yeah. Before, and an apparent croc roll on Barrett, but the Australian player gets a yellow card, and I gotta say it's one of the worst decisions I've seen from the TMO. It wasn't a croc roll. If you can say it was foul play, okay, but what happened wasn't a croc roll. So I think it was an absolutely terrible decision, and yeah, that's what turns people off watching rugby, is like those kind of like interferences with the game, and I thought we got rid of it, but apparently it's still there. So very unfortunate, I think, for the Wallabies. Australia are under the pump a little bit with 14 men, but they managed that 10 minutes very well, and they actually go in the lead 9-7 with a penalty. Unfortunately for them, Will Skelton has gone off for a HIA, and he fails that. So yeah, that's a big loss for them. He's a big character and a very inspirational player for the Wallabies. So again, it's not really going their way. and New Zealand, you know, are just going to pounce on every opportunity that they're given. The Australian set piece is struggling both scrum and line out. Particularly the line out, I thought, really let them down in this game, which they've been pretty consistently good at. But today, no. And fair play to New Zealand, they competed very well and they knew when to compete as well, which was very important. Australia put in a lot of pressure on New Zealand, but New Zealand get a breakout try and the centre goes over, and it's 9-12 now. So that's a big moment, I think, in the match, because Australia were looking like they were actually going to put their foot down and take control of the game. But no, New Zealand, as soon as they get a sniff, they're over for a try. I will say that the centres, Tupaya got that try and he got another try later. They were magnificent, all of them. Suali played really well. The Australian, the other centre, played unbelievably well as well, even though he got a yellow card. And then Barrett and Tupai, they were all great, and I thought that midfield contest was really one of the features of the game. So at halftime, New Zealand are in the lead, and Australia need to really produce something in the second half. They need like McWright and a few of the other players to really steal him some ball really at the breakdown, and he's been doing okay, and he gets a couple more turnovers, but they never really put the New Zealanders under the significant amount of pressure that they need to. But that's why I'm thinking going into the second half, it's going to be an uphill struggle for Australia, but if they can kind of boss the breakdown, they might be able to do it. The New Zealanders do start the second half strongly though, and Roygaard really starts to loosen up and get his game going. He puts in like a fantastic kick and really pins the Australians back. And the conditions now are really bad. It's absolutely pouring down. Slipper goes off is a big moment for him. You know, he gets a well-earned round of applause from the crowd. Ikitai, who was the Australian centre I was talking about earlier, he's absolutely brilliant, but you know, he does get a yellow card. But I thought he was such a tough nut, and he's up against Jody Barrett, who actually ended up being my man of the match. I think he had a couple of big plays during the game, and he's such a unit, such a strong player, psychologically and physically. So yeah. But I'm thinking now the Aussies are probably cooked at this point, because New Zealand are not letting up, and you know, Australia are gonna have to do something miraculous to kind of get themselves back in this game. So Australia do have a couple of opportunities, but they haven't adjusted their game plan, because it's pouring down with rain, as I said, and a couple of times they've tried to play this game plan, which is like keeping the ball in hand, keeping the ball alive, and you just feel like they missed a little bit of opportunity. They should have adjusted that game plan, I think, to suit the conditions a little bit, which got worse as the game continued, and they paid the price really. And New Zealand, again, as soon as Australia make a mistake, they capitalise. There's a brilliant moment where Jody Barrett takes a high ball with Suali breathing down his neck, and it's such a brilliant contest between two great players really. Yeah, and Barrett then again is involved. He gets a forearm clip from Valentini in the face, and yeah, I think Valentini is a little bit lucky not to get kind of yellowed for that. But yeah, New Zealand now they're 20 points to 9 in the lead. So as I said, it wasn't looking good for the Aussies, and big ask for them. Finally, the Wallabies do adjust their game plan a little bit, and they keep it tight, rolling maul, you know, all forward play, because the ball is absolutely soaked wet, and they go to the corner and they're rewarded for it, you know, and that's on-field decision makers. And now it's 14-20, so there's only a score in it. DMAC does stroke a penalty to put the ABs in front, but yeah, what have I got here? I put the referee and the TMO close out the match for New Zealand. It's a little bit snarky, to be honest with you, But Australia, they didn't have the rub of the green in both test matches, I think. But New Zealand were good value for their win, and it finishes 14-28. Yeah, man of the match, Jody Barrett. And now New Zealand is sitting at the top of the rugby championship table, 18, and South Africa 15. Now, I haven't watched the South Africa match yet, so I'm looking forward to that, and that's the next one on the docket. But yeah, enjoyable couple of Bledisloe test games between these two old rivals. And yeah, New Zealand were good for in the end. There can be no complaints, really. So yeah, thank you very much for watching. See you soon for the next one. Bye.